Flight attendant racist kicks. Millionaire's daughter, her quiet. Phone call cost. The airline 740 million. She doesn't belong here. The words weren't shouted, but they sliced through first class like broken glass. 13-year-old Emma looked up from her seat. Across the aisle, a poised black woman held out her ticket and was ignored. The flight attendant didn't check. Didn't question, just assumed. Emma's heart raced. Something felt deeply wrong. But no one said a word. 5 minutes later, that woman was off the plane. Emma didn't cry. She didn't yell. She just made one silent FaceTime call. By morning, the airline was drowning in a $740 million mistake. Welcome, story lovers. Drop your city in the comments and hit like if this pulled you in. Emma Callahan was 13, thoughtful and observant, always more interested in people than screens. She wasn't loud, but she noticed everything. Her father was a billionaire software mogul, but Emma didn't live like a princess. She wore sneakers more than sandals, loved puzzles more than parties, and read books about activism instead of fairy tales. That week, she was flying solo for the first time, heading from San Francisco to New York to visit her older cousin. First class, of course, but Emma never thought much of it. To her, flying was just a way to get from one place to another. She boarded quietly, settled into seat 1B, and watched the other passengers arrive. Then she saw the woman, well-dressed and confident, take her seat across the aisle, and then the energy changed. The flight attendant's eyes narrowed. Her tone stiffened. A pause, a subtle sneer. Something was coming, and Emma could feel it. The flight attendant stopped abruptly in front of the woman in seat 1C. "I'm sorry, but this seat is for first-class passengers only. The woman held up her ticket. "It is about," the attendant frowned. "There must be a mistake. This area isn't open to everyone." Emma's stomach turned. "Wait, what does that even mean?" Passengers nearby glanced over. Some looked away. No one spoke. The woman, calm but embarrassed, rechecked her ticket. "Seat 1C," she said. "I'll need to see ID, the attendant said. But she hadn't asked anyone else for ID. Emma watched as the woman tried to stay composed. Another flight attendant arrived. Words were whispered. Then, without scanning anything, the woman was asked to collect her things and follow them to the front. No shouting, no scene. Just quiet humiliation. Emma couldn't believe what she was seeing. Her pulse quickened. Her hands shook. She opened her iPad and FaceTimed her father. He picked up immediately. She didn't cry. She didn't need to. "There's a woman. They kicked her off because she's black. And it was wrong." He didn't hesitate. "Send me the flight number." What Emma didn't know yet was that her father wasn't just wealthy. He owned nearly 11% of the airline's parent company, and he had spent years funding equity and diversity initiatives in tech. This crossed a line. While the flight took off, the internet was already catching fire. A different passenger had recorded the entire thing and uploaded it with the caption, "This is what racism looks like in first class." By morning, the video had gone viral. Emma's father issued a public statement. "Effective immediately, we are divesting all shares in Northwest Skies Airlines. Our family refuses to be associated with institutions that normalize racial discrimination." That was $740 million in stock gone. The airline's shares plummeted. Media outlets picked up the story. Hashtags exploded, including bias or racism, in the air, and first class only if white. Emma sat quietly in her cousin's living room, watching the news on TV, her name never mentioned. She didn't want credit. But what she did want was change. Dear audience, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to give it a like. It helps. The woman removed from the plane was later identified as a civil rights attorney. She had flown that route dozens of times but never felt so dehumanized. The airline offered her a private apology, but by then the damage was done. Emma's father launched a foundation to support anti-bias training in the airline industry. And Emma? She went back to school, quiet as ever, but different, more aware. She realized silence doesn't always mean doing nothing. Sometimes silence is the action, especially when it's paired with power. What happened that day was wrong, but what followed showed the world something powerful. Even a 13-year-old can hold a billion-dollar company accountable. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more powerful stories and new videos every week. Take care.